The fragrance wall needs an update. I've got brand new fragrances and some fragrances that I need to declutter and some that I just need to use up. So let's just go ahead and do a fragrance wall update and reorganization. This is what my fragrance wall looks like right now. And I know it doesn't look unorganized. I've got so many different fragrances and I love all of the fragrances that I have out, or most of them. Some of them are newer to me and I'm testing out. Some of them are just samples, like at the top of my fragrance wall. It's just minis and samples to get an idea of the brand. I have travel sizes. I haven't unboxed some of these travel sizes. And then I've got full size fragrances. I tried to put the minis with their brand. We'll see. I may need to change around this a little bit. I've got a bunch of fragrance sprays for a video that I'm going to be doing soon. There's just a lot going on. Plus I have new fragrances. So I wanted to do some organization. If you haven't seen my fragrance wall video, I did an entire breakdown of how I created a fragrance wall from a blank wall in my walk-in closet. It turned out really good. So if you haven't seen that video, check my page. I have that video up now. I bought so many different fragrances from the commodity sale that was a few months ago. And I bought a bunch of new fragrances from the TikTok shop. There was a fragrance shop that does lives and they have a bunch of different fragrances that you can get for really good prices. So I did a video on that as well with one of my best friends. So if you want to check out my page, my channel, that video is up where I unbox all of these different TikTok shop fragrances that I got. The very first thing I need to do is make labels for my mini Chloe fragrances. These don't actually have the names on the bottom. They came in a little set, but they just have these numbers on the bottom and not the actual fragrance names. So one of my friends was nice enough to write out the fragrance names for me. And I'm going to use my old phone and my handy dandy label maker that I got off Amazon to make labels for each of these mini fragrances. It's super easy. The label maker came with a little app that you can make different sizes and different labels. These are clear labels, but it also came with like pink labels and white labels. And so I just make the label name and I'm trying to figure out where I want to put them and then just cut it down to size. It was very easy and I really needed to do this. These have been sitting on my fragrance wall for like months. So I went ahead and did that. I know that there are some fragrances that I can go ahead and get out of my collection. I just know that I already have some versions of them. So I went ahead and did that. I'm not interested in that NYX fragrance. I have big sizes or bigger versions of the Coach fragrances. And then I needed to go ahead and unbox a lot of the fragrances that I got as travel size. I was trying to build, I guess I still am trying to build around certain collections that I like. So for example, the Burberry Her fragrances, Burberry Goddess fragrances, Mugler Angel line, the Mugler Alien line. So I was trying to fill in gaps from the fragrances that I was missing out of those collections. And then I needed to move around some of these other travel sizes that I have in my collection. I don't know if I'm really trying to go like pairing them all with the brands. They're not in alphabetical order, but I do know that there's just like some sorts of pairing that I'm trying to do, but then also the sizes get a little bit difficult too. So I just did the best I could. Some of these skinnier travel sizes can fit two into a square, and then some of them are just too big and tall. So look, I tried to do the best I could. This is it for now. I might go ahead and change it later, but so far so good. Throughout the whole time of me organizing, I found some different fragrances that I couldn't remember if I liked or not. So I went ahead and sprayed them to see if I liked them. These two I do like. I forgot about them. They're in the back, but I do like them and I'm going to keep them. So I just sprayed them just to make sure I wanted to keep them in my collection because anybody can get got, okay? I will, if I do not like a fragrance anymore, I will regift it, no problem. I'm not keeping things in my collection just so that the collection stays full. I know there will be new things coming in and out, and I really want to use my collection. So I try to keep fragrances that I'm going to use, and if not, just regift them. There are a few exceptions, and that's only just for things that are super popular that I will want as a reference when other fragrances come out, but that's kind of few and far between. There are a few fragrances that I know that I need to go ahead and use up. So I separated out those fragrances so that I put them in another spot and I go to them each day to use up. Then I'll go ahead and do like a fragrance empties once I have quite a few of them all finished up. So I set those aside. I also decided to set aside the fragrance sprays, more of the like drugstore fragrance sprays or just mini travel sizes that can go all together. I wanted to keep more space for the actual fragrance, the eau de parfum bottles, and I had some space next to the Bath and Body Works tall spray. So I'm trying to just move over some of the fragrance sprays. The exception is really Way and the Fleur fragrances because I have so many of them. I want to kind of keep them all together. It took me forever to figure out some sort of way to keep these together, the fragrance sprays together, without it looking too chaotic. I didn't want to put the shorter ones towards the back because then I'll forget about them. So I was trying to kind of go for height, like to make it all fit, but then for me to be able to see the small ones, it's a lot to organize this. This took way longer than I wanted it to because I'm not really trying to go for an aesthetic look. I want to go for a look that helps me reach the fragrances, but even that just took forever. Some of my fragrances I'm keeping in their collector sets because I have them really as reference points when new fragrances come out, not necessarily to use them up. So I just put them in the corner or in a specific space so that I know I have them, but I'm not worried about keeping everything out if I don't need to. So some stuff will just stay in its box. The Fleur fragrances and the Way fragrances, those are two lines that I know that I will continue to buy from. And so it makes sense for me to have its own section, have them have their own section because this will continue to grow. And so they'll all be together in the same spot. But I think I made it work by using as much of the space as I could, but also making sure that I know where to go if I'm looking for a specific brand. It kind of gets a little bit hectic in there, but I think it's coming together and it'll get better over time. Of course, if you want to see more of me unboxing some of these fragrances and if you want to know why some of these don't have tops, check out the video I did on my TikTok haul, my TikTok fragrance unboxing. We go through, me and my best friend go through the fragrances that I got and we explain all of that. This last section over here is a little bit random because there are small fragrances that are sort of oddly shaped, like the square but slender elf fragrances, the Ariana Grande fragrances, and just things that I really don't have a good place for because of the way that they're shaped. So I just kind of put them all together, and it took me a long time to figure out how to put a lot of the odd shapes together, but I figured it out. This was one of the longest pieces of me doing the fragrance wall. I was trying to put together all of the Nest fragrances, all of my Marc Jacobs fragrances, and all of my Coach fragrances together. But again, we're talking about odd shaped fragrances, and so it took me a long time to figure out how to squeeze everybody in. But I think I did it once I was able to shift some of the other fragrances to another spot, play with the organization a little bit, and then at the very end of it, I was able to do it. My poor Marc Jacobs glow fragrance was just, it became the bane of my existence for a little bit, but that's okay. I found a spot for it and it worked out. I was able to put all of my Nest fragrances, my Marc Jacobs fragrances, and the Coach fragrances all together, living happily together on this shelf. The last thing that I needed to do was just kind of shift some things over. I do know in the back of my mind that I have some minis that I need to make some space for. So it's all about just shifting things the best way that I can. I have said, like when I did my original video, that for this wall that I'm sticking to this space, and things that can't fit in the space have to go. They just need to be regifted to family and friends, or I need to use it up because I don't want to expand past this wall. This is enough space. I have a lot of fragrances. I really have no use to have more than what can fit here. So it actually worked out really good because there were lots of fragrances that were 50% or more already done, and I could shift those to another area where I'm just going to be using those day to day. So over the next few weeks, I know that I'm going to finish them up. This is what I ended up with. I think this is perfect. I can see my fragrances. I know where to go for different brands, and it all fits together. I don't have anything that is just extra. I'm happy with how it turned out. Let me know your thoughts. How do you keep your fragrances and how do you keep them organized? Give me tips and tricks on the best way to organize fragrances, especially when you have different brands. Go ahead and follow my page. Follow also Nubelease at Nubelease on all social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, here on YouTube. Also, go ahead and check out nubelease.com where I talk about all things beauty, and I'll see you next time.